The sky above the alien moon was dark, filled with red clouds and sharp winds. Luke Carter's small fighter ship spun out of control, flames coming from the engine. He tried to keep it steady, but the controls stopped working. With a loud crash, the ship hit the ground and slid across the rocky surface. When it stopped, everything was quiet. Luke opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt and blood ran down his face. He pushed the broken door open and fell to the ground. He looked around. The moon was strange. The sky had no stars, and strange plants glowed in the dark. He was alone and hurt. He walked for some time, holding his side. Then he saw lights in the distance. Before he could move closer, shapes appeared around him. Tall alien soldiers in black armor stepped out of the mist. They had glowing blue eyes and long weapons. One of them hit Luke in the head and everything went dark. When Luke woke up, he was inside a strange room. The walls were silver and curved. A cold light filled the space. His hands were tied. An alien guard stood near the door. Then the door opened and someone stepped in. She was tall, with dark silver skin and bright green eyes. Her hair floated like it was underwater. Her name was Queen Nyla. She looked at him with calm eyes. She said something in her language, then switched to English. Her voice was smooth but strong. "You are the human pilot," she said. "You crashed near our border. Why?" Luke looked at her and said, "I had no choice. My ship was hit. I wasn't here to fight." Nyla studied his face. She did not believe him at first, but she was curious. She had never spoken to a human this close before. She asked more questions, and Luke answered them. He spoke honestly, and slowly she began to listen. Days passed. Nyla came back again and again. She brought food and asked more about humans. Luke told her about Earth, about the cities, the people, and the way life worked. In return, Nyla spoke about her world, the Zerthians, and the war that had lasted too long. One night, loud alarms rang through the ship. Nyla rushed out, but not before looking back at Luke. He watched from his small window. Later, she returned with a cut on her face. She said nothing, but Luke guessed something bad had happened. Later that night, a strange sound woke him up. Someone tried to open his door quietly. A shadow moved fast inside. "It was Nyla," she whispered. "Someone tried to kill me tonight. My own general." Luke stood up slowly. "Why?" "Because I speak to you. Because I think peace is possible." Luke looked at her. "You saved me. Let me help you." She shook her head. "You must leave. If they find you here, they will kill you." Together, they moved through secret halls. Nyla used her codes to open hidden doors. At the landing dock, she gave Luke a small chip. "This is your way home. It will guide you to a safe path." Luke took it. "Will I ever see you again?" Nyla looked at him with sad eyes. "Oh, this is goodbye." He looked at her one last time, then ran toward the small escape pod. The door closed, and the pod flew into the sky. Nyla stood there, alone, as the ship disappeared into the stars. She placed her hand on her chest, where his words still echoed. She knew this moment would stay with her forever. And far away, in the small escape pod, Luke watched the stars move past. He held the chip in his hand and thought of her. He did not know what future waited for them, but he knew this was only the beginning. Years passed after Luke Carter escaped from the alien moon. The memory of the strange night stayed deep in his heart, did not return to the skies. He left the military and went far from the noise of war. People asked where he had been, but he never spoke about Queen Nyla, or what happened there. Luke moved to a quiet place on Earth. He lived near the ocean, where he could hear the waves every night. He worked with small machines and fixed broken drones for local farms. But every now and then, he looked at the stars and wondered if she still remembered him. Across the galaxy, Queen Nyla sat on her throne. She ruled the Zarthian Empire with a careful hand. She had grown stronger and wiser, but she had not forgotten the human who once looked into her eyes without fear. She thought about him during quiet moments. Sometimes she woke in the night, hearing his voice in dreams. She wanted peace. The war between humans and Zerthians had caused too much pain. Began to send secret messages to Earth. She spoke with human diplomats through hidden channels. It was risky, but she believed that change was worth it. Unknown to her, Luke was also helping in his own way. He worked with a small group who wanted peace too. He did not tell them about Nyla, but he used what he learned from her to build bridges. He knew how Zarthians thought, how they saw humans. His words helped remove fear. One day, a group of leaders from both sides planned a secret meeting. A neutral colony called Myra Station would host it. It was far from both worlds. The goal was to stop new attacks and begin talks. Nyla was asked to come. So was Luke. Nyla wore her royal armor, silver with green lights. She arrived with a small group of trusted guards. Myra Station was strange to her. It was built by humans and Zerthians together. It had both styles mixed into one place. She looked at the walls, the people, and felt a small hope grow inside her. Luke arrived with Earth's peace team. He wore a simple suit. His hair was shorter now and his face showed the years. When he entered the main hall, he froze. Nyla stood at the far end of the room, speaking to a group of leaders. Her voice was calm, her movements full of grace. Nyla turned and saw him. Their eyes met. Time stopped for a moment. No one else noticed, but they felt the air change. Later, they stood face to face in a small room. Neither spoke for a while. "You are here," she said softly. He nodded. "So are you." "I did not think I would see you again." "Same," Luke said. They sat down and talked, not about the past, but about what must be done now. Trouble was growing again. A group on both sides wanted to destroy peace. Ships had been attacked. People were scared. "We must stop this," Nyla said. "But we cannot do it alone." "I know," Luke said. "We'll do it together." That night, an explosion shook Myra Station. A small section of the station caught fire. Panic spread and people ran. Luke pulled Nyla to safety. The attack was a warning. Someone did not want peace. In the dark halls of the station, they moved fast. Luke helped wounded people. Nyla gave orders to calm the crowd. Together, they showed that fear would not win. Later, they stood on a high deck looking out at space. "This will not be easy," Luke said. "No," Nyla said, "but I believe in it." He looked at her. "What do I?" They knew now that fate had brought them back together for a reason. This time, they would not walk away. The future of two worlds might depend on what they would do next. The fires on Myra Station were finally put out. Smoke still hung in the air, and the walls were black from the blast. People walked with tired steps. Some cleaned, others cried, and a few stood in silence. The peace talks were not over, but trust had been shaken. Luke Carter walked through the station with a heavy heart. His eyes looked at the damage, but his mind was on one thing. Who wanted to stop peace so badly? The attack was planned. It was not just an accident. Someone had sent a message. Queen Nyla stayed close to her guards, but her thoughts were far away. She knew someone among her people wanted the war to start again. She felt it in her bones. She had ruled long enough to see the signs. But the hardest part was not knowing who it was. Later that day, Luke and Nyla met in a small meeting room. The walls were cracked, and the light above them flickered. It was no mistake, Luke said. That blast was placed near the human side of the station. Nyla nodded. They want to turn us against each other. Luke looked at her closely. Do you know who did it? Nyla stayed silent for a moment, then she said, I have a guess. One of my generals. He has spoken against peace many times. Can you trust him? No, she said. But I cannot move against him without proof. Luke stood up and paced the room. Then we need proof. Real proof. It's not just words. The next day, they started their own search. Quiet and careful. They asked questions, checked data, and listened to voices in the dark. Luke worked with his contacts, and Nyla used her rank to get files that others could not see. What they found shocked them. There were messages sent to old war groups, ships moved without orders, and money transferred to secret places. The general Nyla had suspected was at the center of it all. Nyla felt anger, not just for the lies, but for the danger this man had caused. He had risked the lives of many to stop peace. She wanted to act at once, but Luke stopped her. If you move too soon, he will escape, Luke said. I think we need to show the whole truth to both sides. Let everyone see who he is. That night, they met in secret with a small team of trusted people. Together, they planned to get the last piece of proof. A recording held in the general's private room on one of the Zarthian ships. Luke offered to go. He knows you. He will expect you to stay far, but he won't expect me. Nyla looked at him. It's too dangerous. Luke smiled a little. I've done dangerous things before. She said nothing, but her eyes were full of worry. Luke dressed in a stolen uniform and slipped onto the ship. He moved fast and quiet, reached the room, opened the door, and found the file. But as he turned to leave, he saw a shadow in the hall. The general had returned. A short fight followed. Luke was strong, but the general was trained and fast. Luke was hit hard and fell. Blood ran down his face, and his vision blurred. Suddenly, the general raised his weapon. Before he could fire, a bright flash hit the wall behind him. Nyla stepped into view, weapon in hand. She had followed Luke. The general turned in shock. You. Yes, she said. Me. They fought. And this time Nyla won. She stood over him, breathing hard. Luke tried to stand, and she helped him. You shouldn't have come, he said. You would have done the same, she answered. They left the ship with the proof in hand. The next day it was shown to all leaders. The general was removed from power. People saw the truth. The plan to restart the war was stopped. Luke and Nyla stood side by side as the room cheered. For a moment they said nothing. Both knew this was not the end. The galaxy still needed peace. And now they were ready to fight for it together. The news of the traitor spread fast. Across human and Zarthian worlds, people watched the recording. They saw the general's secret plans, his messages, and the attack on Myra Station. Some were shocked, others were angry, many were afraid. But something else started to grow too. Hope. People saw that not all humans and Zarthians wanted war. They saw leaders stand together, not as enemies, but as partners. They saw Queen Nyla and Luke Carter side by side, risking everything for peace. Still, danger had not passed. The general's fall had created a storm. His followers went into hiding, and some still held power. Whispers of a second attack moved through the shadows. Myra Station was still weak, and some leaders now feared peace more than war. Luke and Nyla worked harder than ever. They met with diplomats, officers, and workers. They spoke with calm and strength. But behind their words was worry. The enemy had not stopped. It had only gone quiet. One evening, Luke sat alone in a small room. He looked at a map on the table. It showed trade routes, ship paths, and safe zones. He marked one spot in red. A message had come from a source he trusted. A shipment of weapons was being moved secretly. It pointed to a hidden fleet being built in deep space. He called Nyla. She came at once. He showed her the map. This is where they are gathering, he said. If they launch from here, they can hit 3 colonies in one strike. Nyla looked at the map. Her face was calm, but her voice was cold. Then we must stop them. We must go there, together. Luke nodded. It will be dangerous. She met his eyes. I know. They gathered a small team, no more than 10 trusted people. They took a fast ship and left in secret. The journey through deep space was long and silent. Stars passed outside the windows. No one slept. When they reached the dark zone, they turned off all signals. The ship moved slow, hidden by the black sky. Luke and Nyla watched the screens. Then far ahead they saw lights. Small ships. Big ones too. All floating in silence. A secret fleet. This is real, Luke said. Nyla nodded. We need proof again. They moved closer. A small drone flew from their ship and sent back images. The ships had weapons. They had marks from the traders group. There was no doubt. Suddenly alarms rang. One of the enemy ships had spotted them. They see us, shouted one of the crew. Get us out, Luke said. But it was too late. A blast hit the side of their ship. The walls shook and people fell.
Another blast followed.
Luke got up and ran to the control. Damage report? Engines are weak, someone said. We can't go fast. It will catch us, said Nyla. Unless we stop them. Luke turned to her. What are you thinking? We split. I take the drone and fly close. I'll send the data out from there. You take the ship and run. No, Luke said. We'll be killed. I'm the only one who can do it. Signal codes are Zerthian. You won't pass the firewalls. He looked at her. The room shook again. Let me do it, he said. She stepped closer. If you go, I lose you again. He smiled. You won't. I promise.
My law knew.
Promises made in battle were weak. Still, she let him go. Luke took the drone and flew out in a small pod. He moved fast, dodging fire. Nyla watched from the main ship as enemy ships chased him. He reached a safe spot behind a large rock and sent the signal. The proof was out. Then a blast hit his pod. Flames covered the screen. "Luke," Nyla called. "Answer me." No reply. The enemy ships turned toward her next. She had no choice. She flew the ship into a gas cloud and vanished. Back on Myra Station, the message was received. The council saw the images. The secret fleet was real. It moved fast to stop the attack. Later, Nyla returned. Her face was quiet, but her heart was full of pain. Luke was gone, or so they thought. But far in the stars, in the wreck of the pod, a light blinked. A hand moved. It was alive. The stars above Myra Station shined brighter than ever. Peace talks had started again, stronger this time. People from Earth and Zerthian worlds joined together. Ships moved between systems with care, not fear. Old wounds were healing. But Queen Nyla walked with silence in her heart. She led with strength and spoke with fire, but her thoughts always returned to Luke. She had seen the flames cover his pod. She had waited for news, but none came. She believed he was gone. Each night she stood by her window and looked at the stars. She wondered if he had known how much he mattered. She had never said it out loud, but she had loved him. In a quiet, honest way, across worlds. Weeks passed. Then one day her assistant rushed into her chamber. Her face was pale, her hands shaking. "There is someone asking to see you," she said. Nyla turned. "Who is it?" The assistant spoke one name. Nyla's heart stopped. In a small room below the station's main hall, a figure stood with weak legs and tired eyes. His clothes were burned, his arm in a brace. But when she saw him, she knew. It was him. Luke Carter. She walked toward him slowly, smiled. "You didn't think I'd leave you again, did you?" She stood in front of him, her eyes full of tears, but she did not cry. "How?" "A rescue team found me. I sent a signal before the pod failed. Took them a while to track it." She looked at him closely. "You were hurt, a little, but nothing too bad." He sat down. She stayed beside him. "The message you sent saved thousands," she said. "You stopped the war." "We did," he said. "Together." After that day, everything moved faster. The secret fleet was destroyed. The last traitors were caught. New laws were made to stop hate from spreading again. Myra Station became the center of the peace project. Humans and Zarthians began to work together like never before. Luke stayed close to the talks, but not as a soldier or agent. He became something else. A voice people listened to. Not because he was loud, but because he had lived the truth. He had dared to trust, and it had changed everything. Nyla remained queen, but her rule changed. She opened her world to others. She built schools, trade centers, and research labs that welcomed all. She worked harder than ever, but now she was not alone. On a quiet day, years after their first meeting, Nyla stood in a garden built above the clouds. The plants came from Earth and Zarthia. The air was full of soft wind. Luke walked up the path. His walk was slower now, but his smile was still strong. They stood side by side. "Do you ever think about that night on your ship?" he asked. "Every day," she said. "We were so close to losing it all." "But we didn't," she said. "We held on." He looked at her. "Would you do it all again?" She looked back. "Yes, even the pain. Even the waiting. Because it brought us here." A small group of young students walked past them. One human girl and one Zarthian boy waved. Nyla and Luke waved back. "They don't know what we gave," he said. "They don't need to," she said. "Let them grow without the fear we knew." They stood in silence for a while. The wind moved through the trees. The sky was clear. The galaxy was still not perfect, but it was better. It was healing. And they were still there, together. Long ago, one human dared everything for one alien queen. And years later, she met him again. Not in war, not in sadness, but in peace. Their story became legend, was told in books, in songs, in the stars. Not as a tale of war, but as a memory of what two hearts could do when they chose to believe in each other. It was the story of how peace was born,